Whenever I come across an interesting piece of hardware that I think is special and could be useful to you, I make a video about it so that you can benefit from it too. And today is no different, as I have another interesting solution for you that can save you thousands of dollars and speed up and simplify your workflow. Hi, I'm Teresa from MORGONAUT.com and I specialize on one-on-one coaching and remote help to individuals as well as audio and video production houses all around the globe. So if you would need any help with your Apple, Mac, Windows, Linux servers, DaVinci Resolve and more, then you can in few clicks schedule a Zoom video call meeting with me and a remote session to your computer so I can help you right in front of your eyes. Link is in this video description. Everyone knows about the crazy prices Apple charges for storage upgrades, and a lot has been written and filmed about it, so there's no point in discussing it anymore. There are already options on the market that allow you to replace the internal storage inside your Apple Silicon Mac relatively easily and much more cheaply, but I can't recommend that either, mainly for three reasons. The first is that you will lose the warranty. Second reason is that not all of these upgrades actually work well. And the third reason is that you are investing money in upgrading a single computer, but you cannot use this storage for your other computers. So, for example, what if you want to buy a newer model of your Mac in a year or two? You will have to invest in a storage upgrade again. That's money down the drain. The ideal solution is therefore external storage that you can connect to any computer and even share over network. In my opinion, Orico is the clear top dog in this area, and this time they've come up with this, the Orico MiniTower SSD docking station M435, which can give your Mac, Windows PC or Linux machine a whopping 54 terabytes of extra storage. That's insane. I'd be happy to guide you now through the installation and configuration process, which is actually quite straightforward. To get started, let's take a look at what's included in the package. Pretty small power brick, 12 volts, 5 amps. And long power cable. Copper heatsink for the NVMe drive with included adhesive tape. 15 centimeters long braided USB-C to USB-C cable. 1 meter long USB-C to USB-C cable with adapter to USB-A. On the back side you will see dip switches for changing the RAID modes. Reset button, 2 USB 2.0 slots for connecting slower devices like mouse or keyboard for example, DC power supply jack and USB-C port for connecting the docking station to your Mac. There is also this cover. Underneath you will find slot for M.2 NVMe disk supporting sizes from 2230 to 2280. Inside there is really extremely silent fan which exhausts through the back grille. And finally on the front you will find TF 3.0 and SD 3.0 card reader slots, USB 2.0 and USB 3.2 10 gigs per second slots and a power button. So, I have here two 3.5-inch mechanical hard drive as well as NVMe SSD. Two NVMe SSDs, but I don't know which one I will use. So, first, let's have a look how to install the hard drives, okay? To install the hard drives, just remove the top cover, which is held by magnets, so you will not lose it. And here you can see there are two metal trays. Really, it's metal, listen. It's really metal. So now just align the hard drive with the holes inside of the tray and use the included screws here. Look inside. You will see on one side there are those two connectors. So it's as easy as just to sliding that drives in. Really simple. Done. Fine, but that's not all. As you can see here, magic slot. That's where the NVMe should come in. Fine, let's install the NVMe. Should I install 4TB one Add-Link or just 512 gig Orico? Let's try the Orico. Let's see how good that disk is. Again, installation of the NVMe disk is extremely simple. Just slide it inside of the slot and secure it using a single screw. So, bang. It's there. And now just secure it using a single screw. Orico included the thermal pads, 2 of these thermal pads. That's exactly what you need, so don't forget to peel off the protective layer. Bang. And again, the door is held by magnets, so it will not come off. Here we go. Now, just cover it using the magnetic top. That's how easy it is. Now, we need to connect it to the computer. And here, Orico included 2 types of cables, or not types, but 2 sizes or 2 lengths of the cables. Short one, long one. The short one, that should be used to connect it directly to the Mac Mini if it's gonna sit on top of the Mac Mini. So if you plan to use it this way, then use the short cable. But I don't like it. I will connect it to my Mac Mini using the long cable. Bang, so it's there. And I will use the USB-C here and connect it to my Mac. And don't forget to also connect the power adapter. Bang, that's it. And in a moment, it should come to life. Oh, there is a power button. Oh, come on, I forgot to press on the power button. Here we go, the disk you attached. Oh, now I have 3 disks. That's perfect. So, let's initialize all of those disks. So, as you can see here, we have 1 single NVMe disk, 512 gigs, and 2 4TB hard drives. For the NVMe, it's using the Realtek RTL9210B controller, and for the hard drives, it's using S-Media ASM1352R controller. So now we have quite a lot of options how to configure the storage inside of the Orico MiniTower. So you can use all those 3 hard drives completely independently. So in that case, I would simply format first one, second one, third one to my liking. But it has also RAID, hardware RAID on board. So you can use RAID 0, which is in other words called Stripe. So in my case, I have there 2 4TB hard drives. So in RAID 0, it would create one huge 8TB array. So if I would put inside 2 24TB hard drives, I would get a single array with the capacity of 48 terabytes, which is insane. So in my case, 2 4TB hard drives, one single 8TB pool. But the downside is, if a single drive will fail, the whole array is gone. So that's where they included also RAID 1 feature, which is in other words called mirror. So you will not gain any capacity, so it will create array of 2 4TB hard drives with the final capacity of 4 terabytes, because data on one disk are automatically mirrored also to the second hard drive. So if you will lose one of those hard drives, you are still not losing your data, you have it on the second one. If you lose also the second hard drive, okay, good luck. Sorry. And then you have also another option, span/JBOD, where you can use hard drives of different capacity and still hook it up to a single array. I would not recommend to use this one. I would either use the RAID 1 or RAID 0 or those independent hard drives. It's completely dependent on your specific use case. But you have also another option. Instead of using the onboard hardware RAID, you can use RAID inside of macOS or Windows or Linux. I will show you that too, and I will compare the performance of the macOS software RAID to the Orico hardware RAID, okay? So let's first test the Orico hardware RAID 0. In order to do that, based on the manual, all we have to do is to just flip this switch to the top. By the way, you may ask, what's gonna happen if you will accidentally move some of these switches? Will it completely destroy your array if you will switch, for example, from RAID 1 to RAID 0? Answer is no. Thanks God they implemented safety feature. So if you will flip any of these switches when you have already some data on your array, nothing is gonna happen. It's still gonna operate in the RAID level which you chose. If you want to change the RAID level, like I'm doing now, you need to press and hold the reset button. So, when I will power it on now, we should have now only 2 drives, one NVMe and one huge hardware array. And as expected, we have now only single NVMe disk and single 8 terabyte array. Perfect. So let's format those hard drives first. So for hard drives inside of the latest macOS, I would recommend to use the macOS extended journal. Keep the APFS file format for your NVMe drives and keep the macOS extended journal for your mechanical ancient hard drives, okay? So let's call it 8 terabyte stripe. Done. And if we look here, yes, we have 8 terabyte in size. And let's also format the NVMe disk, and that's Orico NVMe, and keep it at the APFS. Perfect. So here we go. So let's see how fast or slow it is. I will use the Aegis System Lite application for that. Don't forget, it's connected using a single USB-C cable, which is only 10 gigabits per second. So we should see speed somewhere around 1000 megabytes per second. So let's first test the 8 terabyte hard drives. 413, 15. Okay, that's what we can expect from 2 mechanical 3.5-inch hard drives. So one of them is probably roughly 200 megabytes per second, but because we have now the one stripe array, now it's writing onto those 2 disks at the same time. That's why we are getting the double the speed, 410 megabytes per second. And as expected, read speed should be the same. What I like on these graphs, if you will look at the writes, you will see that it's pretty consistent. Same applies for the reads. So now let's test the speed of the NVMe inside. That should be faster. And fair enough it is. So 940 megabytes per second, that's very close to the theoretical maximum of 1000 megabytes per second or 10 gigabits per second USB-C to USB-C cable connection. So I guess that's running perfectly. Okay, perfect. So now let's have a look how to create, instead of the striped RAID, the RAID 1 called mirror. If we want to change any settings, we need to reset the unit. So I'm pressing the reset button. Bang. And now we have, again, new array which is completely unformatted. So be careful. Do not press the reset button if you don't want to lose any of your data, okay? So disk utility again. So let's format it again. And not APFS, but macOS extended journal. And let's call it Orico RAID 1. Let's erase the array. Done. Perfect. So let's see how fast it is. Fine, so let's choose again the newly created RAID 1. In theory, it should be only as fast as a single drive. That's exactly how it is. Because now it's writing the same data on one drive and at the same time on the second drive. So it's not gaining any speed, it's gaining the redundancy. So now the performance is overall limited by the performance of a single drive. So how good the drive is, that's how fast it is. Okay, so now let's test what's the difference between the hardware stripe and the macOS software stripe, whichever will be faster. Let's have a look. So let's first revert those drives to the original settings. So 3 independent drives. So in macOS, in the disk utility, now go to the File, RAID Assistant, and let's try the first RAID 0, and let's choose those 2 4TB drives, and let's call it macOS RAID 0. Again, macOS Extended Journal, next. Perfect. So let's see how fast or slow it is. Let's choose now the macOS software RAID and let's see. Oh yeah, that's what I expected. So remember when we were on the Orico hardware RAID 0, we were getting speeds around 440-ish, as I remember well. Now we are somewhere around 390 megabytes per second. Do you know why? Because it's software RAID. Now the macOS and the CPU needs to work in order to maintain the RAID. That's why it's gonna be always slower. So that's why I recommend to really use the hardware RAID feature, the Orico RAID inside of this Orico MiniTower. And if you will look at the graph of the RAID, you can see those spikes almost to, I don't know, to 100 megs per second. So it's not as consistent graph as it was when we were using the hardware RAID feature. Yeah, even the reads are simply slower than the hardware RAID. So macOS RAID is not as good as the Orico hardware RAID. Oh, and here's a little extra tip for you. You already know that this Orico MiniTower can handle up to 2 24TB SATA 3.5-inch hard drives. Okay. But if you will look closely, there are additional holes in this metal sled. So guess what? It also supports SATA SSDs. So you can fit up to 24TB of all flash storage inside this little powerhouse. So that's absolutely game changer for video producers, music producers, or anyone who needs super fast, huge, reliable storage. And all of that for just $149? Are you kidding me? Come on, what are you waiting for? Just click the link in the video description to grab one before it's all sold out. And don't forget, if you would have any problems with your computer, no worries. I'm happy to help you personally, remotely to fix it. Just schedule a Zoom video call and remote session in just few clicks using the link in the video description. And if you are into great computer stuff and tips and tricks, then you will love this video here. So see you in the next one. Bye bye, take care.